Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you. Welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to be learning how to recite the chapter of sincerity called Surah Al-Ikhlaas. It's a very small chapter, and this is one of the first ones that we would want to learn after we memorize the opening chapter, which is mandatory to be recited in every single prayer, which is called Surah Al-Fatiha. And we've already made a video breaking that down word by word. So if you haven't learned that, you need to prioritize that and go ahead and watch that video first. And then we can proceed to learning one of the smaller chapters like this one. The reason that we're learning this is because it is the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ to recite additional verses or chapters after the opening chapter in the first 2 units of prayer. And this is one of the most powerful chapters of the Quran, despite the fact that it's only 4 verses. So let's jump into it and learn how to say this. So your first question may be, how exactly do I implement this into my prayer? So if you look at this video here, we're going to say Allahu Akbar. And then after that, we've explained on the channel how to do the opening supplication of the prayer. And then you're going to recite the opening chapter. And then you're going to say Ameen. So after you say this section here, which is Ameen, this is where you're going to recite your optional chapter or verses. So you're going to say Ameen, and then you begin to recite from the Quran whatever you wish. That being said, let's jump into the chapter of sincerity. So you can see here that this is Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Okay, so this is not actually the first verse of the chapter, but you say in the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful, before you start reciting a new chapter. So we've already explained how to say that, so we're just going to skip that part. So just understand that before you start reciting, you want to say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So it will be like this. You'll say Ameen, and then you will say silently Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. You'll say it silently, okay? And then we'll move on to the first verse. So let's go ahead and read the English translation first. I've loaded 2 translations because I like to see how different translators translate the verses. Say, O Prophet, He is Allah, one and indivisible. Say, He is Allah, who is one. So this is verse 1. 2 different translations, okay? Verse number 2. Allah, the sustainer needed by all. Allah, the eternal refuge. Verse number 3. He has never had offspring, nor was he born. He neither begets nor is born. And there is none comparable to him, nor is there to him any equivalent. So we've read the 4 verses and we know the translation. Obviously, as much as possible, you're going to want to memorize the meaning of this so that when you recite it, you have some connection with the words, even though you don't understand Arabic at this point. So when you recite the first verse, you try to understand and remember that you are saying, say, He is Allah, who is one. So we've got the Arabic, which is this part here, and then we've kind of got the word by word breakdown. Qul, say, Huwa, He, Allah, Ahad, which is one. And then I've just written the transliteration here. So the transliteration is where we try to write the Arabic words with English letters. But you need to know that this is never actually able to properly communicate how to say the Arabic letters. So sometimes when you see a transliteration, you'll see like capitals, you'll see doubled letters, and you really have no idea what this is actually trying to say. Sometimes you'll see like a line above or below the letter and you're kind of like completely unable to understand why is there a capital letter here? What kind of information is that trying to communicate? My opinion is that this transliteration is not very useful, okay? You actually need to prioritize as soon as you can, really diving into learning how to recite the Quran. So meaning you need to learn to read Arabic, you need to learn the alphabet, and then you need to learn what the various symbols are above and below the letters, and you need to start reciting the Quran with a teacher. This is the only way that you will actually be able to accurately and properly recite these verses. With that being said, I do want you to understand that I am not a Quran teacher and I'm just trying to help you on your journey. However, if you do need a Quran teacher, please contact me by leaving a comment or email me, and I'll see if I can help you out by putting you in touch with a teacher. So let's jump into how to say the first verse. So we're going to go word by word, and then we will try to do the whole verse together, okay? So this is the first word here, which is Qul, Qul, Qul. So I'm not going to try to very specifically try to break down these letters. And at this point, you don't really need to be too concerned about very, very specific pronunciation. You are obviously just a beginner, so let's not try to overwhelm ourselves, and let's just try to imitate the recitation as much as we can. One thing I would recommend when it comes to actually learning this is to listen to this particular reciter that I've put on the screen here, and basically listen to this chapter on repeat by that particular reciter. The reason why is that recitation is designed to teach you how to actually properly pronounce, rather than the normal recitation that you will hear, which is more beautified. It's more of a very monotone and specific recitation to help you with your accuracy of timings and pronunciation of letters. So when you learn this, imitate that. Download that audio and put it on repeat over and over and over and over and over again until you are able to basically imitate exactly what is being said to the best of your ability. So this word here is qul, qul. It's written with a Q because it sounds slightly different to kul, kul. It comes from further back in the throat and it sounds like this. Qul, qul. In and of itself, that's quite simple, even though the beginning letter is going to be a bit tricky. And then you have huwa, huwa, huwa. So there we have here, huwa means he. Say he. Qul huwa, qul huwa, qul huwa. And then we have Allahu, Allahu. Let's add in the who. So this word on its own, Allah, is pronounced with a at the beginning, an A sound, okay? But when you recite it, you join this word to this one, okay? So this word is joined to this one. So it sounds like this. Huwallahu, huwa, Allahu, huwallahu. So the beginning letter is essentially erased, okay? And the W sound is assimilated into the L sound, okay? So wallahu, wallahu, qul huwallahu, qul huwallahu. And when you say lahu, try to say lahu, not lahu, lahu. Try to avoid saying that. So it's more like an ah sound. Allahu, Allahu. Instead of saying Allahu, Allahu, you're holding the L a little bit longer. You're saying Allahu, 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 Allahu. Okay? So, Qul huwallahu, Qul huwallahu. And then we have Ahad, which is one. So how to pronounce this word? Ahad, Ahad, Ahad. So I don't really want to go into the details of this particular letter, okay? I just want you to simply try and imitate what's being said, which is Ahad, Ahad, Ahad. Okay? So let's recite the full verse. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. So, let's move on to the next one. We have Allahu, Allahu. And then we have Al-Samad, Al-Samad, Al-Samad. So we have the first word, Allahu, Allahu. The second word, Al-Samad, Al-Samad, Al-Samad. Now, again, like with the previous one, where we said, Wallahu, and we ignored the first letter, which is like this, okay? What we're going to do here is we're going to do the same thing, which is why I've not written the A in this position, okay? So we ignore the first letter that would be here, Okay, so it goes hussa, hussa. From the hu to the saw. Hussa, hussa. So it sounds like this. Allahu Samad. Allahu Samad. Hussa, hussa. And again, it sounds more like an ah sound. After the S, you have like an ah. Rather than saying samad, samad, samad. Allahu Samad. Okay? So it is difficult and it's overwhelming, but this is a lifelong journey. Okay? So begin the journey, start walking the path. If you take one step at a time, you will eventually reach your goal. But at the same time, understand that it's a lifelong goal, okay? So to be able to recite the Quran perfectly, people literally spend tens of thousands of hours doing this. So this is a lifelong goal. This is not something you're going to learn in a week or a month. And try to remember that the enjoyment and the happiness of learning to recite the Quran is within the journey itself. So let's go again. Let's start from verse 1. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد. Okay, we're nearly done, not much left. لم يلد ولم يولد. So let's start with the first word, lam. Easy to say. It's pronounced with basically the same English letters, lam, lam. So that's this one. And then you have yalid, 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 yalid. Lam yalid, lam yalid. And then you have wa, which is right here, wa. Simple and easy. Lam yalid wa. And then we say walam. So we say walam. Okay? Walam. Lam yalid walam. Lam yalid walam. Okay? And then the final word, which is right here, yulad. 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 The sound that we're making, the D sound at the end, doesn't have an A sound on it, okay? So make sure you don't say yulada, yulada. But it's neither muted either. So it's not like this. Yulad, yulad. It's slightly in between. Yulad, yulad, yulad. Again, just try your best to listen to the recitation of the professional reciter and imitate as best as you can, okay? So let's do the whole thing. So we have lam yalid walam yulad. Lam yalid walam yulad. Lam yalid walam yulad. Okay, so let's again start from the beginning. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد لم يلد ولم يولد. And here we go to the last verse, which is ولم يكن له كفوا أحد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. Okay, so we have wa, which is the beginning, wa. And again we have lam. So we say walam, walam. Okay? And then you have these two words which are joined together. So you have the first word, which is yakun, and you have the second word, which is lahu. But because we joined them, it's going to sound like this. Yakullahu, 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 walam yakullahu, yakullahu. Kufuwan. 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 It's pretty much using the same letters that we use in the English alphabet. Kufuwan. Walam yakun lahu kufuwan. Walam yakun lahu kufuwan. Walam yakun lahu kufuwan. And again, we have the same word that we've already been over before, which is ahad, which means one. Ahad. 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 ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. Okay, and we're done. So let's start from the beginning. قل هو الله أحد. الله الصمد. لم يلد ولم يولد. ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. And there we have it. This is not going to be extremely easy for you. It's going to be difficult. You need to take your time. You need to be patient. You need to be persistent. And most important, you need to ask Almighty God sincerely to help you in your journey. When you have sincerity in your supplication, it will help you tremendously. Because when you sincerely want and you sincerely ask for something, it will also make you take action. It's never going to be a situation where you just wake up in the morning and suddenly you know all this information. You're going to have to walk towards that goal. That way, God the Almighty will aid you and allow you to achieve that goal, God willing. So we're going to make some more videos which help us with breaking down the rest of the prayer, and those will be coming soon, inshallah. I hope you found this video useful, and I'll see you in the next one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.